Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, nestlings, sharks, peasants, vassals, coppers, bulls. I'm a useful idiot. Today I want to talk about police protection order that is now being sent through the New York State Senate. And in the details, it's kind of a disturbing trend, and I hope this doesn't catch on in other cities across the United States. But it seems likely that it will, because it ups the ante on far as how much legal protection the police have. And it seems already that police have a lot of immunity from prosecution, considering a lot of pretty outrageous behavior goes unpunished. And so now they have even more protections, and it's starting to look like you can't even look at a policeman the wrong way. And so this legislation is going to head to the New York Assembly now, and we'll see what they do about it. Because if this goes into law, and then other cities and states adopt it, there will be a heavy price to pay. And so let's look at the details. It says it passes a bill that creates the crime of aggravated harassment of a police or peace officer. The bill makes it a felony to physically attack a police officer while on duty. And that all sounds fine and good, but where the devil in the details is what constitutes a physical attack on a police officer while on duty. And when you listen to Senator Griffo's extrapolations on exactly what this legislation is supposed to do, that's when I have a problem. So he goes to say, quote, at a time when shocking incidents of disrespect and outright confrontation are at an all-time high, the men and women who patrol the streets of our cities deserve every possible protection we can offer them. My bill will make it a crime to take any type of physical action to try to intimidate a police officer. This is necessary action because we can see from the rise of incidents that too many people in our society have lost the respect they need to have for a police officer. We need to make it very clear that when a police officer is performing his duty, every citizen needs to comply, and that refusal to comply carries a penalty, unquote. I guarantee you that if I read that whole thing with a German accent, you would shit your pants. Essentially, it's saying that it will be a crime to essentially make any sort of physical gesture towards a police officer. So, of course, flipping them off or putting your hands up to protect yourself when being beaten and the like. But it also makes it clear that, say, if there's a massive police presence in an Occupy protest, for example, just the fact that the protesters' bodies come in contact with a police officer trying to press a crowd to go a certain direction, that will constitute a felony now. And so you can see why we don't want this sort of legislation spread across the country. And he also goes on to talk about we see a rise of incidents where too many people in our society have lost the respect they need to have for a police officer. I beg to differ. Certainly there's an element of society that is not going to have much respect for a police officer, but for the most part, I think most American citizens feel a certain amount of fear. Who doesn't know the feeling of having a police car pull up when you're driving on the freeway, and how much more nervous you are, even if you don't think you're doing anything wrong. And certainly that goes for anywhere in society. And then the fact that this senator goes on to say we need to make it very clear that when a police officer is performing his duty, every citizen needs to comply, and that refusal to comply carries a penalty. And boy, that's about as threatening as you can get. And this plays into that whole phenomenon where the police claim there's a war on police in America, but all the evidence I see tells me that there's actually a police war on America. The number of unarmed citizens or citizens who call for help and are then mistakenly killed, or dogs being killed, or overwhelming force used for to collect a bunch of stoners and the like. It seems to me citizenry is under attack. So anyway, they go on to say that this legislation, it would make it a Class E felony punishable to up to 4 years in prison. So they could put someone in prison for 4 years um, just for looking at a cop the wrong way. Because make no mistake, that's kind of what this is about. If a mere gesture or the fact that it's a officer's word against yours, whether you made an intimidating gesture, the fact that this bill leaves it open as to anything short of physical injury. So anything short of physical injury is very vague and could mean a lot of things. So anyway, Senator Griffin goes on to say, quote, citizens do not have the legal right to physically challenge the authority of an officer lawfully performing his duty. So, unquote. So that gets to the heart of what I'm talking about. To physically challenge the authority. What does that even mean? To physically challenge the authority, not just the officer. And then threats, intimidation, and physical force used upon our police erodes respect and endangers the public. So he definitely means to have threats and intimidation, which can be any non-physical gestures as well. So we're getting in some dangerous territory here. This could be a new upping the ante as far as giving more police more impunity, especially in dealing with large crowds and protesters. So everyone can certainly see, or everyone who's paying attention can certainly see how dangerous that would be, particularly because this would come in very handy laying the groundwork for massive roundups where essentially all these people could theoretically be put in jail for 4 years just for being physically in contact with police when they're physically rounded up in large groups. So, but anyway, I don't want to get into too much fear-mongering. It's just that I wanted to show what kind of Pandora's box this kind of legislation can open. So we should all hope that this doesn't spread nationally. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.